Enzo kalaban ang katiwalian at kasinungalingan, kakampi sa katotohanan at kabutihan.
From July 2024, I went to Germany. In December 2024, I went to Denmark. In January 2025, I went to Japan. In the third and fourth week of January, I went back to Japan. In February of third week and last week of February, I went back to Japan. On March, I went to Hong Kong. On March, I went to the Netherlands. On May, I went to Qatar and the Netherlands. On June, I went to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia. On June, I went to Australia. On July, I went to the Netherlands and the Republic of Korea. And very recently, from August to September, I went to Kuwait, the Netherlands, France, and Belgium. And number 3, no public funds were used for all my travels. I did not charge representation. I did not charge tickets. I did not charge per dime for all my travels in the office of the Vice President. So if you can see in the breakdown of the budget of travel for Office of the Vice President, you can see that there was a 0 amount for the Vice President.
Thank you, ma'am.
Madam Chair,
Parliamentary inquiry.
Next
Chair,
on-
just to follow up on the question. So, una po, salamat po sa Vice
I'm
President
sorry,
for
Congressman Tenyo,
detailing.
that was your last question. I'm sorry.
Follow up na lang po, yung
I'm sorry.
personal po ba
I'm
ang lahat
sorry. In the
at
interest of time, we have to proceed.
magkano po ang ginastos ng opisina at staff? Kasi totoo po, wala daw ginastos ang
sorry,
Vice
I'm
Presidente.
sorry.
Parliamentary
Magkano ang ginastos
inquiry?
I'm
ng
sorry.
staff?
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Parliamentary
Yes.
inquiry. Madam Chair, I thought we're going to accord institutional courtesy to the Office of the Vice President. Bakit po natin binabanatan? Bakit natin tatanungin?
It's already settled that we'll just giving
Mr.
two
Chair,
questions from the minority. Okay?
Mr. Chair, hindi po,
5 minutes each.
wala pong
Opo.
binabanatan
But
dito.
does
I
not
take
preclude
exception
the other members
to the-
from making a
Congressman
manifestation.
Tenyo, sandali
I
lang.
take exception to the use of the term binabanatan. Nagtatanong lang po tayo rito at lihitimo naman po ang mga tanong.
Madam Chair.
So maybe I ask the congressman.
Mr. Chair, may we
to withdraw
request
the
for a
comment.
suspension of
Session
the...
suspended.
I
Hearing
second
suspended.
motion.
Hearing is resumed.
Madam Chair, I would like to correct myself. I was informed that I mentioned that the travel authority is approved by the Office of the Vice President. The travel authority is approved by the Office of the President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. The correction is duly noted.
Yes, Madam Chair, may I move that we strike out the word binanatan uttered by Rep. Marcoleta. Wala naman pong binabanatan.
Second.
There is a motion to strike off from the record the terminology binabanatan. It has been duly seconded. The motion is carried.
Madam Chair, just a 1-minute manifestation on the striking of the record. I have no objection. However, I just want to explain that in the previous debates, in the previous legislatures before us, in the interim Batasang Pambansa, when an assemblyman from the city of Manila was attacking the late president, there was a motion to strike off the record of what he discussed on the floor. The former Assemblyman Arturo Tolentino said that if you strike off the record, any sentence or paragraph, it's just the same sentences, and you strike it, so you still can read that. So that was clear that I think that the procedure is still the same. The statement of Banatan, i-cross lang yan, but it's still there in the records. Sinabi ko lang yun because there was already clarified many years ago by former assemblyman who became
Duly noted,
late Senator
Kong
Tolentino.
this time we will use eraser. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Pero ngayon may video na.
Okay. Going to the next from the minority Leader Congresswoman Reneco. Please go ahead.
Good morning to the Vice President. Good morning to my colleagues. I'd like to take off po sa questioning na ni Representative Tino. Meron po kasing minention na list of destinations na tinake ni Vice President this year under Travel Authority. But we like to take note na in a press conference of the Office of the Vice President, meron pong security and staff na kasama si Vice President. So can we ask po, no, paano po pinopondohan yung pagpunta, flight and accommodations ng staff and security ng OVP?
Madam?
Madam Chair, may I be allowed to ask a question?
Depende sa nature, Madam Vice President.
Yes. Magpinsan po ba si Congressman ko ngayon tsaka si Zaldi ko?
Ano po yun?
Gusto ko
Mr.
lang
Chair, I can
malaman.
answer.
Are they relatives, sir?
Please answer, Congresswoman Rene.
I have no familiar relation po to Zaldico or to Representative Zaldico or any of their relatives po.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just look for
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Look for the slide, sir. So,
Madam
Madam
Vice
Chair.
President, please go ahead.
Yes. So we are talking about international travels, no, as of July 31. So for two travels in Southeast Asia, for the security, it's 474,646.93 pesos. And for the OVP personnel, these are for two trips, 463,733.6 for a total of 938,379.99. For one trip to Australia, for the security, it's 438,383.26. And for the OVP personnel, it's 206,988 for a total of 645,371. For the Middle East and Europe, three trips, the total is, for the security, is 2,922,869.98. And then for the OVP personnel, that's 1,825,329.47 for a total of 4,748,199.45. For three trips in East Asia, the security budget was 1,141,937, and for the OVP personnel, 0, because they did not join these trips. And the total is 1,141,937. The total for 9 trips for both the security and OVP personnel is 7,473,887.70.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Congresswoman ko.
Mr. Chair, may we request a detailed copy of the report that the Vice President gave in relation po sa spending po ng security and staff for foreign trips abroad.
We will request the Office of the Vice President to supply the committee with such record. Thank you, Madam.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask another follow-up question. Ilan po yung staff and security na dala po ng Office of the Vice President in these trips na funded po, na of this breakdown ng fund na binigay?
Luoy na kayo mong noun, sir ba? Kanang. Madam Chair, for the security, I understand they recommend, the Armed Forces of the Philippines recommend 3 to 4 security personnel, but the Office of the Vice President only approves 2 security personnel. And for the Office of the Vice President personnel, that's 1 ceremonial and diplomatic affairs employee, 1 for MPRD, that is the Media Relations and Public Affairs Division, and then 1 for as assistant to the Vice President. So those are the approved personnel who joins the Vice President in her trips.
So, to clarify, Mr. Chair, these personnel in total ay sinagot ng OVP fund of totaling 7.4 million pesos sa ating mga foreign trips.
Madam Chair, not all foreign trips, as I mentioned. Security is always recommended by the Armed Forces of the Philippines, but some trips do not have OVP personnel because there are only 3 trusted OVP personnel who can do the work that I demand from them, and sometimes they are not available.
Okay. Congresswoman ko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So to confirm, ito pong mga trips na to that was mentioned, are these trips personal in nature that required po yung presence ng personnel and staff?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, I believe, with all due respect with my colleague in the minority, I believe the question is irrelevant. Because even if the Vice President travels on her personal capacity, we cannot disassociate herself from the office of the Vice President. She's still the Vice President. The
Exactly.
reason for the travel is business, but she could also travel in her personal capacity, but she's still the Vice President. So I believe the question is irrelevant. With all due respect with my colleague.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
just to respond po, no, this is just a mere question, whether the nature of the trip is personal or business po, no, or whether it's official. This is a question that I'd like, that could be posed, and I hope to post po to the Madam Vice President.
Madam Chair, it depends. If I have activities for the Office of the Vice President abroad, the 3 OVP personnel join the trips. But if the trip is purely personal and I do not have events for the Office of the Vice President, they do not join the trips. So in the graph, in the table that I mentioned earlier, those were the trips that the 3 personnel from the Office of the Vice President joined. But in the case of security personnel, this is something that is beyond the Office of the Vice President. It is decided by the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Thank you, Madam Vice President.
Bunyog, bunyog, halikan na kasama ka. Bunyog, kapag buklod ay may pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, isa ang pananaw. Sa bagong Pilipinas ang bunyog isisigaw. Bunyog, bunyog.